Mm-hmm. Good afternoon, everybody. RT here with Hxro Labs, episode 34. How you doing today, Nick?
Really good, man. End of the week. Lots of stuff going on the weekend. Trump, coronavirus, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's been a wild couple of days, and I think the biggest one, obviously, starting off with the presidential debate. This election stuff is going to be heating up, and we've been talking about this for a while. Expect volatility in the markets when there's a lot of uncertainty. The big players will take advantage. They will move markets around, and it doesn't even just mean that. I mean, in general, we're just going to see a lot of like up, down, up, down. Everything's going to be very sensitive. So much so, in fact, that my broker a month ago, as if it wasn't already kind of obvious this was coming, they sent me an email saying that they are increasing the margin requirements. I believe it was from something like 30 something percent up to 60. Now, I don't trade on margin with Interactive Brokers, but it was telling, right? I mean, it's no secret that around elections, especially a US election, you're going to see lots of things going on, lots of volatility. And with what we've been seeing on the charts on Bitcoin, I don't think any of this is really that surprising. I think one of the things I want to talk about today is sort of that chicken and egg between TA and FA. I always find it fascinating when I get to a buying level on a coin, and then I just trade it because that's my setup. And then suddenly some really bullish news comes out, and you're like, oh, look at that. It bounced right off that level. So was it the news or was it the TA? And in this case, we've been trending down in Bitcoin on the daily since really the end of August. When we got that big drop. And, so whatever you want to call it, we have had some downside volatility on Bitcoin. We will look at that a little later today, what it means going forward, how we see it playing out. And really, one of the videos I put out this week was part 2 of how to spot a trend reversal. So if you haven't looked at that, check it out. I think it'll be really valuable for us getting through Q4 and into Q1 2021, because it's not really about calling the bottom, calling the top, but just know what criteria I need to see to decide when I'm ready to take risk again and in which direction. So it's so not about making big, bold predictions. The bottom line is, no matter how you cut it, we're in a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. And that will continue until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, we'll have exactly, cut out what we need to see. And when that happens, we'll act on it. So we'll get into that a little bit later. I see you've got something up on your chart. Let's zoom into that, and you can walk us through what you're looking at in the market right now.
Sure. Let's take a quick look here at Ethereum. Again, guys, we've been saying caution for quite a while on this. So far, price has failed to break this key 395 bearish throwback level. Sure enough, we've come back down, tested daily support. We came back up here over the weekend into this 365, 370. This is, again, the bearish retest zone again. Sure enough, a little rejection. We had a bit of a sell-off last night following the announcement of Trump getting coronavirus. It was interesting times. We had a divergence from gold and other commodities. Crypto went on its trip downwards with the S&P, but diverged from gold. So that was kind of interesting. What do we need to see here to get bull again? Well, this 350, 352 level. This is just an intraday support level. It goes back a little ways if you zoom out more. Bearish below that, 351, 352. What are we going to be looking for? Probably a retest of this daily support back down here at 320 to 330. If we do get support off that, we're going to be looking for a higher low. But notice how these moves off this daily support is getting weaker, right? So what would we be looking for to signal that this thing was imminently going to break down? Well, first you can see, this goes there. This only gets about, 2/3 of the way. If we see this come back down and this get rejected there, I think that would be enough momentum to, finally break it down. So that's my bearish thesis off of that. I think this 352 level is going to be pretty important. If we do close above 352 though, I'm happy to switch my intraday bias. That's all right. I need to see something like this, maybe back up to 360, support off there again, high or low. And then if I saw that, I'd be pretty convinced that the bulls were back in charge. However, none of this has happened. So until we see that, let's stay on the bear side. Very similar chart here with Bitcoin right now, guys. Exact same patterns, hitting these bearish throwback levels, the daily supports. So kind of trapped between this range right now. And as you can see, this range is contracting. Bitcoin volatility on the 30-day right now is down to around 2%. So there's not a lot of good trading opportunities in terms of percentage moves on this asset. So just set some alarms. Where do you want to be setting those alarms? Probably around like 10,250 or something. This entire area right here, from 10,000 to 10,250, or up to 400. Key bullish throwback level on these higher time frames. Put this up to the weekly, quickly look at it. And you can see, Bitcoin's currently stuck just between these two levels right now. I gotta say, it doesn't look fantastic, but on red days it looks terrible. On green days it looks amazing. It's headed to the moon. Quick look at total market cap here. This kind of gives you the overview spectrum of where the crypto sector is, and we haven't gone anywhere. We're stuck. As long as we're above this 280 billion level, bullish, and as long as we're still bearish below this 340 billion level, this bearish throwback level. It's interesting how the TA supports across all these different indexes and things. Finally, Bitcoin dominance, kind of hanging out at these lows. I'm bearish, no reason to be bullish on this when we're below the 62%. So just set some alarms below like 60 and 62, and that should be fine. Quickly taking a look at the US dollar. It's kind of just sitting back here at the bullish throwback zone right now in these smaller time frames. We did complete this bearish throwback that we were originally looking for. So happy to see that move has played out. The question now is if we are going to get continuation, right? So if we do see continuation here, this is where it's going to hold, right? Exactly where we're at. So we've had this initial move up, the throwback. Now we're trying to support off this, nice volume node there as well. If we do see support here, it'll probably come back up, back down, higher low, and then have enough momentum to break through. So that's what we're looking for on the bull side. If we do just, tip over and die here, let's, total possibility, maybe something, like this. If we came back up here, so I wouldn't necessarily be, calling doom off this initial break, but if I saw price come back up to this throwback and this flip to resistance, then I'd be pretty confident that we were going to go take out those lows. But until we see a break of this, got to stay bullish. And finally, the S&P, again, just set your alarms here. Former all-time highs, 3,400. If we can reclaim that into support, I'm going to get bullish on this again. It's kind of setting up a lower time frame inverted head and shoulders here. It's messy, I know, that's okay, but it's there, right? So, set some alarms probably on these right here, 3,400, 3,430. Those are your key levels moving up. Any downside, you're going to be expecting a sweep of these lows here at 3,230, targeting all the way down here at this weekly support around 3030. But until we see a break of these highs, this is kind of a no trade zone until we see a break of these lows here at 3280. No short triggered either. That's what we're seeing. Macro Roundup brought to you by Hxro.
Hxro Labs.
Hxro Labs. Big distinction.
Important distinction. Now, let's flip over to my screen real quick. Not yet, but there. A couple things I want to touch on. You just covered really nicely all the majors, obviously, that I'm looking at as well. And we've been fairly conveniently in agreement for the last little while. I think, the trend has been clear as day. And one of the things that I want to talk about today, and that's been helping me sort of stay clear-headed together. Okay, let me get my mic fixed up here. I did mute it and unmute it. Look at that. How about now?
It's better.
A little better. Sometimes when we go between shots, for some reason,
there you go.
Likes to get salty. All right, beautiful. One of the things that has saved me from myself, perhaps, and in general, a lot of money, is doing my own analysis before I go on social media. And that has been really challenging. That's actually an old strategy of mine. to just kind of stay away from that, especially when you're learning TA. When I was learning TA, it's like, I mean, I'm always learning it, but in the earliest days, I would go on Twitter and you're zooming down, and just as humans, we're naturally seeking out ideas that kind of fit what we think. And so you tend to glaze over the gross bearish ones or whatever the case is that goes with your trade. And one of the things I learned, and since then has completely changed my general trading and analysis and ability to spot what's really happening versus what I want to happen, is to do my analysis in the morning before I go to Twitter. And that's been challenging because I run with the Hxro Labs Twitter account. And so I got caught earlier this year getting on there, messing up my trade ideas, my bias. And so what caught me yesterday, off guard, to be honest, is I woke up, I'm in bed, and I'm flowing down Twitter. And I was seeing all of these bullish tweets. I was seeing people talk about alt season. I was seeing people talk about, Q4, finally, we can get done with September. We're moving on. And I mean, I get the sentiment, and it's like, hey, let's get some engagement and let's hype up the crowds. But I wasn't seeing it anywhere. And if you're looking at these big majors, this is what the hype was about, right? This kind of bounce. But look at the trend. Look at the trend. I was frustrated. I was a little bit frustrated because there were some accounts in there that I follow that I'm like, yeah, sweet, man. Like really good at TA, great analysts in general. And there was just this orgy of like, oh my God, isn't that sweet? I bought, and now, it's alt season. Now look, this could be a trend reversal. Okay, I'm just picking on ADA because it was one of the leaders in the earlier part of the year. And so when you get something that's leading, often it will lead the way down as well and give you a little advanced signal. This could be a trend reversal. But we need to test these lows. We need to come in and see, was that one-time bounce? We're going to come visit it. It's just friggin', it's just physics. And when we get down here, are we going to print a higher low, or are we going to just kind of chill, sweep those lows, crap out? Like there's so much more to be had. So I was fairly disappointed, but at the same time, it reinforced something that I have come, to put into my trading plan and my daily routine, which is to go to the charts myself, look at my own trades, look at my own portfolio, like completely isolate myself from the masses, from influence, until I come up with my own analysis. And then I am safe to go on Twitter, to go onto these other places, find out what other people think about the same things. Because what I've learned, and what I think you guys should take away from this rant, is that there's certain parts of human nature that we just can't escape. And in trading, you must try your best to escape them. And one of those is the need for community, the need for confluence, the need for agreement. And it's fuzzy, warm feelings that you get from somebody liking your stuff and you liking someone else's thing, their tweet, their video, whatever it is. And try as we might, it is very hard to turn off whatever you want to call that, a gene, an instinct. And so fighting your own sort of base inner instincts, psychology, that is such an important thing. And it has saved me a ton of money. Undoubtedly, I couldn't say I tracked every dollar, but point being, we are not an alt season. And it's not because I don't want it to be. We're just not. I mean, even Theta, had a really nice run. And that's what I've been doing. That's part of what we'll talk about today, is hunting. If I'm bearish on this market, short term, midterm, whatever you have it, I'm just bearish until it's not a downtrend. It's hard to short, say, Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick. Where is that? There we go. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's take Ethereum. So the news comes out, CFTC investigating BitMEX. Somebody's in jail. They've been arrested. Price dumps. That's not very good. That's pretty bearish. Okay, you're probably going to see a fairly sweeping dump across the market, as we have. And one more low, bullish divergence on Bitcoin. So, who knows? I think we're going to consolidate here for a bit. Point being, this was not a short I can take anymore. I mean, even at this level, it was tricky. I put a little scalp short onto Bitcoin on this bounce, but that was it. But what do? So I pull up this watch list, which is blue. So I've created a list of all the Binance perps, which is beautiful because there's so many, kind of like FTX. There's just a ton of altcoins you can get long and short exposure to. And so I go down this list and I look for the ones that don't already just look like shit. I mean, I'm not going to short this. Even up here, like where's your, right? Nick talks about this all the time too. I mean, where's your downside risk to? There's the lows. There's not a lot of good RR here. I mean, I guess you could short to these highs, but whatever. Risk to those highs. Now, Dot, same thing, kind of already been trending down, not a whole lot there. But you go down this list. Now I had that on my blue list because it's just one I want to watch. But look at Zill. Zill was actually rallying at that news, and it had just bounced. I'm going to pick on Zill because that was actually my trade yesterday. And that's the other thing. You don't need a whole lot of trades. You get one good trade a week, month, whatever, depending on your size and your style. So I wake up. There's all of this bullish stuff talking about alt season. I'm looking at the majors. I'm saying, wow, they're all showing bearish divergence up in their short RLZs. This is even before the news dropped. And then you go find Zill, and after the news. So this was the news, right? So it interrupted Zill's nice little bull. Then the news comes, boom, and then we bounce right up into here. I mean, as it turns out, yes, it worked out. So I can sit here and toot its horn all day. But this is the kind of stuff where if I was on social media, if I was sitting there on Twitter seeking out, oh man, what should I do? This is scary. This is crazy. It's all just like, oh, imagine selling all your coins just because someone got arrested. Like, there's just all these opinions, and I couldn't find any substance to them. I could I'm not, it is what it is. Everyone can do what they want. I don't care. But it just, one thing I wanted to talk about today was just, have your plan, learn some of this stuff, ask questions so that you can go to your charts before you go into the orgy of engagement and growth hacking and tactics and social, seeking of acceptance and all these different things, popularity contests, whatever you're going to call it, because you're not going to make money off that stuff. And it's probably just going to turn you in circles like it did for me for about a year and a half. So if I'm coming through there, not to like come in hot, but this was like a rant that was on my mind. Anyways, this Zill trade, as you can imagine, where is it? Anyways, it aged pretty well. And so smacked into the sweet spot, got the close, half of it, put the other half at 50%. And okay, so Jim's asking, any ideas on how access Binance perps as US person or other exchanges? I love the perspective game plan to hear from you guys. I'm not sure how to implement. Yeah, it's tricky. It's really tricky if you're in the US to find a place to trade on leverage. That's a question. Nick and I are Canadian, so you'd have to ask somebody in the US. I think there are some options, and I think there are other ways you can get away with it. I think people do trade on Binance from the US, but given what's going on with BitMEX, what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, like there's plenty of US people trading on all these exchanges. It's just a matter of how much risk you're willing to take, right? VPNs are probably the most obvious choice. There's more risky options where people sell KYC accounts via OTC. Don't recommend that because they could just take back their account at any time, basically. But yeah, there's plenty of options out there for sure. VPN's probably the safest.
Yeah, there was even that newer option, but the one Messiah mentioned to us about, he was actually getting like interest payments on his collateral.
Oh yeah,
while short. What was that called?
Yeah, there's some exchanges out there where they're like non-custodian dexes and things like that. There's no KYC and all that. I think it's BZXC or something, XY.
Yeah, BZXY. Yeah, so I mean, there are going to be probably some decentralized, non-custodial margin option things with DeFi. That's going to be pretty exciting if you're in the US, given the restrictions.
I just saw an article about the DEX volume for the month of September is 23.5 billion. It's doubled what we'd had in August. So, it's amazing to see liquidity just rushing into those platforms.
Yeah, I mean, there's clearly a demand, and I think sometimes for better or worse, I think a lot of people just don't like KYC because of taxes. Say what you will about it. I mean, I just pay my tax. I think, I kind of believe in public healthcare and public schools and figure I can make enough and then contribute to my country. That's my vibe. But other people don't feel the same way. That's, personal choice. But in that sense, you want to avoid KYC. I wouldn't recommend it. I just think it's a whole bucket of shit. I mean, there's a guy, I think, where was he? He was somewhere in Africa. It was after 2017. He made a whole bucket load of money. He basically had a taxable event, whether he withdrew it or traded it, whatever he did. And then the market crashed. He had somehow, I guess, was exposed to that through the Bitcoin, 2018. So he had no money, but then he had this insane tax bill. So he got hit with like the full tax bill of his 2017 gains. And, he was thinking he was going to avoid taxes. Well, they hit him with it. And I think he had to sell his business, sell his home, lost his family. Like, it was really hairy. That shit.
Jesus.
Say what you will about agreeing with your government around taxes. It scares the shit out of me that I just go to sleep one night and might wake up to like a massive tax bill that I didn't have money put aside for. I mean, talk about, reducing risk so that you can trade with a clear head, having your bottom line covered so that you can trade with a clear head. I cannot have, unreported gains and some lurking tax bill and mountains of debt and then take risk on a trade without feeling emotional about it. That's just me. But like, I think that shit's crazy that people do that. But, so again, highly not recommended, but to each their own. So, long answer short, I'm hoping that the US will get it together and start approving some of these so that people can have access to these products, because markets go in two directions. And, once you know what you're doing and you're feeling comfortable with it, trading the downside is just as easy as trading the upside. I mean, not to say that it's easy, but like just as possible. So real quick with Theta, I've been staring at this chart now for a minute. If you guys follow me on Twitter at randomtask555, we don't do any like trade stuff as much through the at Real Hero Labs account. Mostly just analysis, news, memes. But my personal account, I do put out a few trades. And this one yesterday, I actually didn't get to trade it like I had hoped. This was the tweet I put out essentially. And it did bounce right up to the sweet spot. I mean, so juicy. But at the time, I was shorting Zill. Things were really bearish, and it came up to test this level. I think it was around 71 cents. And so zoomed in really close. I actually had a little trade in there, and that just got stopped out, and I didn't go back to it. Yeah, I think it was right here, and then it dumped, and then I drew up like a tiny little reload zone here and had like a really high leverage kind of like tight thing here, and that got blown out, and I didn't go back to it. But oh my God, 11 p.m. last night. I mean, you guys can see this. Probably already know what I'm about to do, but you just draw this up, and there it was. Get that replay function here. Right, so once you get up into this short RLZ, you dump down. Oh, look at that, confirm some bearish structure. Let's wait for the squeeze. There's your squeeze right up into that short RLZ. I mean, this is the kind of stuff easy to do after the fact, but like this is just, again, beating a dead horse, waiting for those fails, drawing up the RLZs, getting short. Look at that tight risk. I mean, that's less than 1%. So, you slap on some size there and, you're 4-1. You don't even have to like leave that range. I mean, you're not even at the RLZ of this zone. And obviously that aged really well through the night. So I woke up to that kind of going, oops. So I missed the Theta one, but Zill came through really nicely, and that'll do. So those are the two trades that I gained some short exposure to through all this volatility. I think the nice thing about these Binance perps is that they're all versus USD. So we know, generally speaking, like if Bitcoin rolls over here, like I don't care what altcoin you have, they're going to suffer. And it's not because they're suddenly worth less and people are like, but it's just, that's the game, right? Up, down, shake it out, FOMOing in at the top, squeeze them out. They sell back to you at the bottom. I mean, it's just whales growing their bags. Same old shit.
Accumulation.
Yeah, accumulation. So, and that's really what this phase of the market cycle is. Just more accumulation. So, yeah, I think that's my rant. Mostly for today, I wanted to talk about is just trying to, not ignore social media, but as soon as you can, if you're serious about really capturing the potential of what's coming in crypto, obviously you're here, so you are of the mind that it is going to be super bullish and there's going to be tons of opportunities and potential life-changing wealth. I mean, if you're really serious about capturing that, even if you only have a little bit of time, you can put some time into learning some of the more basic stuff. I mean, even just the simple stuff we're putting out here for free will help you grasp, some basic concepts around risk management, around, sizing, around directional bias, trends. Get into that stuff and then treat yourself to a trading view account so that you can practice it and you can look at it yourself before you come watch Hero Labs live, before you go on Twitter and see what the buzz is. Give yourself an hour a day, whatever it is. And, in 10 years, you might think, you might thank yourself. I find it kind of scarier to think about wasting this opportunity because, I didn't waste it, but like, I mean, I worked in my first year in crypto, I still had a job. And then in my second and third year in crypto, I worked half time still as a teacher. And it wasn't until, the end of last year, and I think I really just got to go for it. I've got to go in. I've got to take some risk here, and education, and I'm just learning, and it's aging well. So that's sort of the moral of the story. How to spot a trend reversal part 1 and 2 are now on our YouTube. So if you want to check those out and drop feedback, right? I didn't, it's not like a full educational program where I'm putting months in and re-editing. I'm just jumping on to share some with you guys. And, if you spotted something on it and you're like, I don't know what the hell that is, you should hit us up in the comments, and then I'll make another video and explain a bit of that. So what do you think of
improvement?
Yeah, feedback's really good, because we're just in the lab every day thinking up ways to serve you guys better and come up with stuff that you guys find valuable. So what do you think of ETH BTC?
It doesn't look great. I got a chart here. So that up. We've already hit that. We've hit that weekly resistance at 0.4. It's kind of, again, lower lows, lower highs. I am looking for a bullish throwback retest personally, back down to like 0.27 area, around there. You got the weekly Stoke cross down, BZO going down. There's not a lot of volume on this yet, but from here, and this would be really great too, because I think this would line up with our USD targets on Ethereum going back to 385-ish level. If we see something like this, guaranteed, this is what we've seen here, this month-long consolidation right in here. If we do break down, this will turn to resistance initially, right? So if we do bounce from this bullish throwback, this level here at 0.326 is going to be your bounce target. And at this point, we're going to be able to determine if there's bearish momentum in the market still, or if the bear momentum targets have been fulfilled and bulls can, hit a higher high and they can go back up. So pretty big, level to be watching right down here. And depending on how we break this range, it's going to dictate my bias on Ethereum in the short term. If we were to reject there, I think we'd go back down here to fill this 286, 285 level.
Got a little echo going on there. Is that okay? I think, is Nick still going? I'm
nope. No, I concluded what I was saying about ETH-BTC.
Oh, okay. Yep, that was my conclusion, sir. Pins dropping. All right. So let's take a look at this 3-day. I've got a 3-day here. Let's see. ETH. This one I haven't looked at in a little while. And sadly, I don't think we're going to get my GANN 50/50 that I was really hoping for, that vibrational signature. I was really excited about this chart. I think we are going to get up there. It makes sense to me that we will get there, given the fundamentals behind ETH and how many friggin' Bitcoin are just wrapped on Ethereum now. Like, it just seems like a natural progression that Ethereum would outpace Bitcoin growth soon. But for now, let's move in and dissect this. And it might get a little ugly with the zoom in and these elements.
No, we're up to over 125,000 BTC wrapped onto Ethereum right now. It's 1.3 billion.
Jesus. Well, we've well exceeded your initial prediction. I think it was part of our streams. You said, yeah, we're going to hit 1 billion this year.
Billion EOI.
So I think more and more we want to start diving into, like, what the heck are these Bitcoin doing on Ethereum? Let's maybe we'll put together a segment on that, specifically looking at the use cases. Why are $1.3 billion worth of Bitcoin sitting on the Ethereum network, wrapped up, locked in smart contracts, all that stuff?
Yeah, we'll leave it for another day, but simply put, they want to capture the yield.
So they're using these DeFi platforms.
Correct.
That makes sense. And why not? Especially for, if you're holding Bitcoin. And that's one thing I've seen a chart. Well, I'm getting off topic here, but I have seen this chart repeatedly about the amount of Bitcoin on exchanges. So when price dumps and that Bitcoin is not showing that it's going to exchanges, everyone's like, well, look, nobody's scared, but it doesn't have to go to exchanges anymore to be bought or sold or traded or used. So I don't know, that chart just may be
that's interesting.
Losing its value as far as an analysis tool. Now look, ETH BTC broke out from this level, and that was a 56. This is the 3-day chart. I remember when this broke out, it was about 56 days consolidating here at what was resistance, flipped it, tapped it, and took off. It is not that bearish from this perspective to come and check that level. Okay, even checking this level. So let's draw up a few different fibs, because there's some that'll say, okay, go all the way to the bottom and all the way to the top. Well, look at that. Your 618 comes perfectly in line with that level. Now, I would tend to say, oh, let's get the last major pivot, the right side of that last bit of market structure. Well, there's your 786. You're down in this RLZ. It's all the same kind of thing. Or let's take the low right before the breakout, capture just this move. And in that case, we're front running that 618. I don't see us stopping in here, and I'll show you why in a sec. Point is, this is your washout, right? This is the market coming back, squeezing everybody out that piled in the summer, probably oversized, probably, weak-handed, ready to sell. If you're a little nervous about your positions already, you're going to have a really hard time holding through anything like that. Again, not here to rain on anyone's parade. This is just the market and as I see it. And I want to make sure that I, put it out there. And it might happen, it might not. But I think the probability is what we trade. And the probability is high that we are going to come down here and test these levels, VPVR value high. So let's take a look at the stilt. Because, from this perspective, that doesn't even seem that bad. It's like, oh, yeah, we'll just, come up, come down, continue up. Like, cool. January is right here. So Ethereum, historically, it's fairly uncanny how it likes to bottom in January. So that's like right around here. So, could we have a little chill through the election and then we're just hanging out here and then we continue? I mean, that seems perfectly logical. Not even that bearish, other than right this minute. And if we go over to the stilt that I'm calling it, the stilt gap, this is drawn up a little more clearly. And I mean, look at this. It's just clear as day. So beating a dead horse, been talking about this for weeks. I think I first drew this chart up when we were here, and I said, okay, if we lose this, we're in deep shit. You bounced up. I mean, that was, at the time, your low was here. So there was your sweet spot entry. That was the short, at least that short. I think arguably there's one up against this, retest up here. And this, yeah, like this gap, there was no real volume traded through here. In other words, the demand for this coin, the big buyers, the whales, the people that are going to put the bottom in this downtrend, they're probably waiting down here. I mean, if you're a whale, if you are a smart money, if you're a fund, if you're the guy who's moving markets, trying to get every bit of this Ethereum you can into your hands, you play these games. And you don't play these games like an idiot and just say, well, I'm going to place all my bids here, because you'll get squeezed. You'll get wrecked. This is why I love TA, because you can see levels where buyers will become interested, and not just a few, because obviously there's buys in the books the whole way down, but there's not too many. Where's the real demand? And we can use TA, we can use some of these tools to find it. And going back to that last chart, I mean, here's that level, which is the 618 if you do the entire range, right? So you go right back to the lows. There's your 618, that golden ratio. And oftentimes I find we actually go just past that, which would be the 702. And that would be your real squeeze down into here, sweep these lows, the final sort of, that's where everyone's like, oh, get out, we're going to zero. And then we moon it. And is there some trend lines to support this crazy theory?
Well,
That's a pretty, what's that?
I bet there's at least one trend line.
Oh, yeah, I bet there's a few. Let's see. We probably got like a little parabola working here. We just keep following these up. Let's get the nice little edge. Yeah, so, I mean, we're coming into that now. I think that breaks down. I mean, so this makes a lot of sense. That kind of aligns, again, seeking confirmation bias, seeking confluence. But, 618, old support, big gap on the VPVR. So this isn't like, and this is, I guess, going back to the Twitter thing and some of the stuff I see on there, and they're just like, nah, you're just a bear. You're delusional, man. You just want to buy it cheap. I'm like, well, I have a chart with some fairly tried and tested true analysis that is showing me where I am excited to buy. And it's showing me a downtrend, and it's showing me, increased sell volume and buyers disappearing. Like, what do you have? I would say to those people that are just blindly saying, I bought the dip today. Like, what are you doing? What are you buying with? Let's see a chart. And I'm happy to be wrong. I'm happy to be, taught something new today. But if this is my roadmap, how the hell are we going to trade it, Nick? Because I don't want to sit on my hands for 3 months and just watch things melt away. Can we trade this? Can we capture some volatility? What are you looking at these days?
That's simply, it's the bearish throwback, isn't it? So your risk, if you're taking a short here, to the downside is just going to be a break of that little high on the right-hand shoulder that you put there. So back up to 3.6 level or so. Anything below that,
way up there, yeah.
Well, I guess that is technically a daily chart there. But yeah, your last stand line, I would probably exit if we had a close above there. Otherwise, it's a great short entry targeting that unfilled gap down there. I think that's the play.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the ultimate, like this, and that's why I marked it here. This candle should act like a magnet on price, similar to a price gap. When you see these, where it just explodes up and there's really no Wyckoff check, there's no filling in, there's no price discovery. It's essentially a price gap. It acts in a very similar way. And you can see here on the VPVR, there was like no volume traded there. It's like magically all the orders were pulled and the buys just very quickly ate up that space. So this is an area typically almost like physics that just needs to be explored. And if you're wondering about a precedent, I will show you this. This is crazy. Let's go back. I need a clean Bitcoin chart. The Bitcoin daily here. Okay. Nope. All right, let's just go here. I'm going to go to Bitstamp. And I'm going to show you guys this because I said the same thing in 2019 with Bitcoin. And I mean, obviously it was a year later, so I didn't actually trade this. But look at this stilt here. So very similar. And when that happened, I was doing some analysis, similar kind of thing to now with a different company. And this happened. And I thought, okay, boom. And as we were up here, I was like, oh man, this stilt, like that's got to get filled in. There was like no volume traded there. That's basically like a price gap. Now, waiting for that did not age very well right here. But I was shocked, sort of, when we finally came through that Corona dump. And I actually know a few guys, maybe they're even watching right now, Kevin. I don't know if you're there watching. I know a few guys from TRI are here in the house. Big shout out to TRI. That's where I learned all this stuff. And we're drawing up fibs through all this bullishness and coming up through here. And it was like, hey, let's say, and Kevin's just known for this 88.6 level. He loves to snipe it. And look, wouldn't you know it, this breakout level. So for all the chaos that was that Corona dump, there are a lot of traders out there who are just like, yeah, business as usual. This was bearish, so I got out. We had a nice trend. That was your China pump. Gonna have to stretch this out a bit. Catch it while it's moving. Ah, there it is. Who do we got in here? Yeah, okay, we'll get into some requests very soon. So it was right here. And so, for all the things you want to say, well, it was Corona dump, it was the ban on the European borders, which was actually the sort of final catalyst. I remember because I watched Trump tweet it and then I got the hell out of every single position I ever had. But it just came down. And where were those big buys? Who were those people putting in the bottom? Were they setting up all their orders here? Well, no, the VPVR was saying, no, there's probably more interest to do business down here. So the mega whale Uber Bear or Uber Bull buys, I mean, those guys, they put a bottom in the market right here, and you can see it on the volume, right? The volume is what kind of stamps the approval of the price action. If there's no volume on a move, you should trust it less. If there's a ton of volume on the move, it's a fairly strong signal because you can't hide volume unless you use OTC markets. So anyways, that was the last time I remember a stilt like this. I mean, there's a bunch. You can see them on low time frames too if you want to get better samples, more samples. But that's crazy, right? And then it just drops down, and there it was. And I laughed because for a month after this stilt, I was waiting, watching, trying to get filled there. And obviously a year later, I was not setting my bids there. So I ended up getting in on the way up here. But, so that's what I see on ETH BTC. That's the theory around the stilt stuff. And I mean, just like even just looking at this chart, who can look at that and say like, yeah, we're going to the moon tomorrow? It's just got to cool down. And if I'm wrong, there will be some trades to the upside very soon. So there's my rant, and all that to say, I want, if anyone's watching this, I just don't want anyone to feel misled. Like, oh man, they were just talking about Bitcoin going to 100K. It's like, well, maybe
one day,
someday for sure. That's why I'm here. But we're going to play every level as it comes, and every cycle as it comes, and every trend as it changes. Right now, the trend is down. That's just the way it's going to be. And I don't even think it's really started, to be honest. I think we've only just confirmed the start of a downtrend. The one thing I will say is that we could be consolidating. We're definitely not trending up. That's we got the low highs. We get the little bit of a higher low here, and as Nick said, we're just kind of getting smaller and smaller and smaller here. So that's your best case scenario, like through here, where we were consolidating and then eventually continued up. That's possible. I am not writing that off at all. But I'm not rushing to buy these dips. Hell no, not for the long term. That's all. That is all. So let's take a look at comp. I actually looked at that the other day. Do you want to pull that up, Nick?
Comp and YFI. I quickly have this YFI chart, and then actually that'd be good to take a look at the DeFi PERP. So quickly, DeFi PERP. Last night we broke this support level, this bullish throwback level. I was hoping it would hold. Right now we're retesting it, so this would be a bearish throwback. So I'm going to set some alarms on here. If we get back above here, around 2167, I think this will have been just super news related with the Corona and Trump and stuff. However, if we do close below this level, I think it's only a matter of time before we fall back to bullish throwback. So I wanted to start that off because that's going to affect what we have here at YFI. So this is everybody's charting this head and shoulders, right? Last night we did come back down to test this support level, to confirm it once again. We've had multiple moves off these levels here. So, everybody's looking for something like this right now. And it seems like a very crowded trade right now. Yeah, everybody's looking at this little nasty head and shoulders, right? Your target to conclusion, well, at the very minimum, 15,000, but probably closer to around down here, around 13,000, 12,500. So, this hasn't broken down yet. You don't want to be shorting here at support. But as long as we're closing below here, like 22.5, it's definitely bearish. So expecting maybe a little thing to come up here, fizzles out, then breaks down. That'd probably be a good short entry on that. And then let's take a look at comp. This is something I haven't taken a look at in a while. Do you know if anything's going on over there with them? Oh, God.
I haven't really followed. They were sort of like that first mega DeFi project. I remember they came out with like a few $100 million market cap, and it was like, well, look at comp. I haven't traded them or really looked into them at all, to be honest.
Yeah, so quick look here at the 6 hour. Did it actually make new all-time lows? Yeah, I think it went to them. So this is a pretty pivotal level to be holding down here, like 120, 121. Looks not great. From a high time frame perspective, what does this thing need to do to get us bullish again? Well, right off here, you can immediately see this nice daily level. So, bearish below here, I'm going to label this like this. Shrink this down. There you go. So, okay. So now we know price is going to be bearish on a high time frame below 145. So what you can do, just set some alarms above that. Otherwise, you don't want to be shorting right here again. This is the daily support level. But intraday, I think anything below, if we're closing below 127, I would say it's only a matter of time until this gets popped. If we're closing below here, abandoned ship. This thing has hit 12 icebergs and is headed to the bottom of the sea. But again, until we see close below, then don't short here. This is the range support. So that's kind of what I see on this. Momentum's kind of flat across the board. Volumes died off. Yeah, DeFi is so flavor of the week. There's always something new where the volume's rushing towards, and like liquidity is just so easily moved around. So, this doesn't look great. I'd be expecting some downside, not a bull until we're back above 147.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with you there. I think longing blindly off the lows seems like a sexy idea, and it is sort of closer to the right idea than simply catching euphoria and buying stuff up near highs. But is there any sign? Always, again, markets are moved by big money, right?
Yeah.
We don't move the markets as much as we want to think we do. Even a low liquidity market, I do find it interesting. You can move them around a bit yourself with a few $1,000, but generally speaking, I want to be buying with big money. The guys who decide this is the bottom, I will protect my investment, I will protect my level, and we're going to just move this market higher. And so you want to see buy volume step in. You want to see evidence that the big boys are there saying, hey, this is the bottom. We're going to put a bottom in here for you. You can get along with us, sir, and enjoy all of this upside. I don't see that with comp yet.
No, neither do I.
So
In
it's just
fact,
at, you know,
I brought it down to a lower time frame here, and this is just to show, like, the Wyckoff theory is so strong for entries and exits and determining momentum and things like that. This is the hourly chart. This is your intraday support level from what we'd seen for, it looks like, 24 hours. Look what we have forming here, right? This is flipping to resistance right now. So this doesn't look great at all. This is a pretty weak bounce. Like, hardly any buy volume came in here. No divergences just yet. So I'm leaning bearish on this right now, unfortunately, below even 125 at these smaller time frames. Like I said, there's just no structure. There's no volume that is signaling, okay, they want to hold this level.
Yeah, and now to anyone watching who's newer to trading, you're trying to learn this stuff. I mean, first and foremost, take your time. Markets aren't going anywhere, and until ideally paper trade some stuff, because like before I got confident with my setups, I was paper trading them. I was, using fake money. You can actually do it right on TradingView. Let's switch over to my TradingView. I'll show you guys. It's built right in, and you can get proper orders set. So okay, that one's not tradable. Let's look at this. Where is it? Okay. So I'm going to go to Atom USDT. They recently added support for Binance, or they had it for a while. I don't know, but I definitely know they have it now. What?
Wow.
That's weird. I swear I just tried this one the other day. Let's take a look at it. Here we go. So I guess just the BTC pairs. Wait, what's WoW?
I was just saying, I just noticed that ZIL is at a huge bearish throwback level right now. If you guys
I should tell me I should reload. Yeah, look at that.
The reload
So
level.
this is so I closed my trade, and we are at that level. Look at that. So if we're trending down, I think actually somebody asked that before. Yeah, Ramiro said, "Hey guys, new to the channel. What's the configuration of the fibs?" Okay, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Getting into paper trading. Let's just go over the fibs real quick, because I did say I will do that, and I want to. So here we go. Now, the nice thing about TradingView is you can save templates. So I have a whole bunch of different fibs, so I don't have to reset them every time. Like ChartX is more of a widget. So when I'm charting those shitcoins over on Uniswap, I've got to reset the fib each time if I want to see it the way it is. But I just call it the hero fib, and it's, basically graying out most of these levels, but I still want to see them. And then I add the most important ones for me, 618, 702. So here's the settings. I put the labels on the right. I think they default to the left. But screen cap, rewind, pause, and you guys can have these as well. And then we actually have a video. We'll put it in the stream at this spot on a card, so you guys can click and see just quick how to draw these. So I won't get too far into that. We have very 1 minute content on that, but basically looking for that short, we came down. I mean, you can see as an exit, this sweet spot served really well, and we bounced. Now, did we bounce on high volume? Is there evidence of big buys coming in? Not really. The bears are still in control. The sellers are still in control. And this bounce up really is an opportunity to reshort. And some of you guys probably remember the pump chaser fib from the summer. Well, what about the dump chaser fib? It works both ways. This shit goes both ways, and it's fascinating, and you can trade it both ways. So if I off the cuff was just saying I'm gonna take another shot shorting ZIL. I don't like it as much here. It's certainly not as sexy as trying to grab this or grab here, but it's there. And if you can frame that risk, 3% that way, I'd have to get at least to here if I want to take that risk. It means every dollar I lose, I could potentially make $3. So over time, if I'm 50% hit rate, I'll be up money. You're always thinking in averages, never trying to go for it on one trade. But I personally like to go for 4 RR at least. RRRR. So, God, I have so many Brianisms stuck in my head. Love you, man. So there you go. That's a nice throwback level. And the way I would trade it is, using that fib, that little pivot is basically the 0.5. That would have to be my exit. But I mean, yeah, you can see on my chart, I've got the higher time frame fib. So, there's definitely room below. We tagged this 618. And if you zoom out, again, looking at the higher trends on the majors, election coming up. Like, think about how easy it would be for more negative news to come out, even just based on the two stories that drove us to this low. I mean, okay, like Trump has symptoms. That could be follow-up news. 7 of his, chief of staffs, like executives, guys all around him now have COVID. COVID is spreading through the White House. Like, I don't think those things are going to happen or not. Like, it's not up to me to predict, but those are very plausible stories that, again, the TA is already here, right? The market, to me, is not out of sellers. Like, the buyers aren't going to overpower the sellers on these kinds of assets until we're down into these levels. That's already what I think. So when those news stories comes out, if they do, is it going to be the news, or is it just going to be the TA that was sitting there all along? I would argue the TA. Or, Arthur Hayes, they're looking for him right now. I think he was, they use the words still at large, right? So if he is arrested, or if some of the other founders are arrested, is that going to be leg 2 on this down move, right? So again, I guess getting into that rant, I think, yes, there is a short here. That little bearish throwback zoomed in is that dump chaser. And you can kind of see the bears put the top in here, right? Buy volume rising, whoop, nope, dump it. And that was actually on the BitMEX news. So take that with a grain of salt, if you will. But, we could just keep moving up. Like I said, this isn't quite the complete short setup that I want. I caught that short setup up here. And for now, the nice thing is actually it doesn't even look as good on here. This is just the spot pair. On the futures pair, it got right up. In fact, I don't even think I would have got filled on that spot pair. So thank God for the Binance washing machine. Yeah, like it came right up and filled in here. So this was just a scalp short for me. I do dream someday of getting into these big, sexy short positions through an entire market swing of months, but I'm not good at that shit. I see my P&L go down by half, and I just don't like that. So I tend to just close it on pivots along the way. And so Sheplik over on TradingView says, how to draw fibs. There's a no-brainer, great video to make. Share when you create it. Yeah, well, Sheplik, I actually have great news for you. We have a 1-minute alpha series video on the Fibonacci retracement tool.
Boom.
So boom, one step ahead of you, sir. It was actually the first thing I did for Hero Labs was make that, because I'm obsessed with fibs, and I thought I'm going to talk about these all day. It's 60 seconds long, so if you can find a quicker way to learn how to draw a fib, you let me know, and I'll say, haha, you did it. But yeah, it's not exhaustive, as this is the nature of brief content, but I figure it's a nice balance. So where was I before I got into the fib thing? Oh yeah, paper trading. Learn your setups using, kind of circling back to the talk about comp. I think you got the right idea. You're saying, I see support. I might as well just go to comp. You're saying like, hey man, we're down on this support. Is this a good place to long? I mean, it's certainly a better place to long than any of the ones up here, location wise. And you've got some RR, meaning risk reward is insanely high. If you were going to say like, okay, I'm going to risk to that low, because if that breaks, I certainly don't want to be in this asset to the long side. Negative price discovery. And look at that. Yeah. So you have that's the right idea. But it just made a new low. It is in a downtrend. There are no signs of buyers coming in. The one thing you have here is a little bit of bullish divergence, which is actually, not a bad thing. Basically says price is going down, but the momentum, the speed at which it's going down is slowing. So you have the beginning of a short setup. You have location down here at the lows. You have some divergence starting to come in. It hasn't quite confirmed yet. You want to see this thing flip green. But then you want to see the trend. Now, this is actually the video I just put out, so you guys hopefully can just check that out. But the third and final step is actually seeing the trend reverse, because getting in here is not that valuable if it's going to keep going down, versus getting in here. Sure, you buy at a higher price, but you've got evidence now that there are buyers supporting. And if you're really trading it for the trend, I mean, boom, you got some size. So if you want to test this, and you want to learn more about this stuff, you can use this tool on TradingView. Really nice. You can set it up down here. Paper trading, you can even drag it up. You can reset your account. So I set this one up the other day for $10,000. It's not real. It's just the paper trade account. And you've got even some tracking down here with your positions, your orders, your history, your account summary. You even have a trading journal where it tracks everything, your account history. I mean, this is an amazing tool built right into TradingView. And I can just set a limit order. Fuck it, let's do one right now. Let's say
Live.
Yeah, let's do one live. We'll do it live. I'm going to say I'm going to buy 200 comp, which costs $23,000. Okay, I can't do that. This is a big coin. What the hell? Let's do 10. Okay, 1,000. So if I was going to take this trade, because I just, I'm learning. I think that looks like a good buy spot. I'm not going to learn if I don't try and fail and learn. So my stop loss needs to be these lows, 10, which is listed up here. If you guys are wondering what I'm looking at up here, shows the low of the candle. So 107.45. So my stop can be 107.44. I want to go just below for that. And actually, you know what? I'm going to do it this way. Sorry, guys. So 11.406. So that's my entry. I'm basically going to buy right around here. 401, I'm going to front run that friendly number. Okay. And I'm going to buy 10. I'm going to have a stop loss already in there, and it's going to be at that level. What was that level? 10.745. 10.744. It's going to be, the pips. I don't need the pips on here. I think I can actually remove those. So play around with this stuff, guys. You're not going to learn if you don't try these things, but let's even say take profit. That's a little bit exuberant. Let's go to what would be the short RLZ, because these things are just magnets on prices. So like up into this area, let's even just say the sweet spot. So that's 68%. That's 9-1. That's really good. I could be right like 1 in 10 times. I still make a little money. So what is that price? 19323. So I'll put in a take profit at 19323. Oh, I'm either going to get $69 back or 832. So I'm going to lose a little or make a lot. Let's do it. Put it in. All right. So it fired automatically because my buy was basically already there. I am now in this position. I can see that position listed down here. I'm trading. Might not be real money, but that's good because I'm just learning. I'm trying this setup. Now it shows the buy. It's already set my take profit order. It's going to alert me if that hits. It's going to alert me. I mean, this is sick. Y'all should try this out. And then maybe I do this 20 times, buying the lows like this. And I decide after that, is this profitable? Is this how I want to disperse my money in the market? And yeah, so sorry. Went off on a big paper trade tangent. Let's do some rapid fire, baby. Coming up to the top of the hour. It's Friday. Got lots of requests.
Yeah, I can start it off. MTA. It's on fire right now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ooh, it's about time. Let's see if it's going to put a bottom in.
Coming off a pretty big level right now. I think it looks pretty good. A little higher low off that 2.1 support level. I could see this rallying. If it does break this 3.3 level, I can see this coming back to retest that $3.94 daily support that it broke down from. Turn bearish resistance. I think that's going to be the big decider for me if this is really going to get crazy bullish or not. What am I going to be looking for? Well, you already got the momentum on your side too. 1, 2, and 3 day Stokes close to crossing up. If we can move above here, hit this, flip that to support, I think we'd be good to go. Your first target is going to be like in this level, around here, 4.5, 4.7-ish. So what we could see is a slam up there, flip that to support, and then up she goes. We'd be looking for the next target, probably between here, right? 650. So that's what we're looking for. Let's put in a higher low here. Good to see. Good rally. Looks good to me.
Beautiful. Nice to see MTA coming back. I know we got a lot of guys over in the trading pit that are bullish on MTA. They've been DCAing down, and I'm happy to see it turn the corner. And I actually kind of want to pull it up and see if I should be trading it. We'll see.
I got a good chart here on Ren. We were actually, I was trying to get into a position here. Unfortunately, for some reason, Ren is still not on FTX. But we had a really good entry technique here. This, again, nice daily chart. What happened? Well, we came up, right off that daily support level, bearish throwback right here, comes back down, and sure enough, right? This is what we always say, that higher low. And there it is, right off the support. So we've come back here. So what do we need to see? Well, I need to see this level here, this block, flip to support. If it can turn to support here, squiggle it around a little bit, I think we'll eventually get to see him move back up to that 40 cents at the daily resistance. If we do, this is a huge wick. Again, this is just the Corona fucking Trump stuff that happened last night. Bought back up pretty nice. If we get rejected, this is a little daily resistance level around 0.3. I would suspect that this daily support here holds for now. But market structure, showing some early signs of bull.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if I should be DCAing on Ren, because it's not one that I want to miss. And this is the problem with having a love affair with a coin. Like, it's one that I just really, really want. And so I have a hard time watching that. I'm like, shit, don't go friggin' regaining all those levels without me. So we'll see. I mean, that actually does look pretty good as far as, flipping back to the bulls there. So
yeah, one more here. This is AVAX, the Avalanche token. I didn't get in this one. It's kind of just been making lower highs. It's not super exciting to me just yet. Not a lot of data back on this one either. So you could call this an untested support level right around here. So
I got RSR after this one here.
All right, sounds good. Just kind of these sloping highs. It's not the greatest. It's pretty messy here as well. There's not a clear bearish throwback level. When you see this, just kind of drop down your time frame to help identify those levels. And sure enough, there you go. So resistance right now, kind of around that 4.1 level. You can even see it here, right? This former support range here, 3.9, $4. Trying to flip resistance, right? So if we do see resistance hold here, so we'll call this the bearish throwback. Unfortunately, if we do see the bearish throwback hold, well, we're going to be looking for that test of support down here, right? So again, key level here around this 4.1. If it can move back above, I think it'll rally back up to the 4.2, 4.3, and we'll see if we can actually make a higher high here for the first time or not. But currently, all these lows, lowers, all these highs, lower. So what does that tell you? Bearish throwback, supporting it. It's bearish until proven otherwise.
Yeah, trend is down until it's not.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, why I chose to do that, how to spot a trend reversal, because I didn't want to be like, hey, like, we're super bearish on crypto, but it is just a downtrend. And when that ends, I mean, we'll talk about it on this show and all that, but I personally, as a teacher, I just want to I don't want people to be able to spot it on their own, so they can come and say, hey, look, guys, I found this downtrend just reversed or whatever. And, we're all going to be better for it. The more everyone here can roll in the riches of knowledge. So let's flip over to RSR. I really want to tease our new stream idea, Jono, in the next few minutes, but I'm going to wait just another minute for that. This one is RSR is back into the interesting area. Now, key distinction between, we've talked about a lot today, being in the zone and being ready to go back up, right? I think bottoms take a while to form. We'll see. We'll see if this one does. For now, RSR is back down into the reload zone. So had I sold, actually, you know what I did? I did sell a little bit up there. I had a free position. I was trading this thing back in the stinky bits of the spring. I think it was here, and I got a double. So I sold half my position. I was like, okay, I got a free position on Ren. or on RSR, and then it got way up here. So I sold another chunk somewhere. I couldn't tell you offhand. I still have some, but I think at least 3/4 of what I originally had. So anyways, this is now what you would call that, the reload zone, because I'm going to go buy that back now. So even if it doesn't start going up again, part of what I was planning to hold long term, that's just like a successful short trade built into that. And I'm just going to buy back what I sold and keep the difference, and then maybe trade it a little differently. What I'd be looking for here is same kind of thing, right? Some kind of structure showing me it's ready to go up. Otherwise, there's opportunity cost waiting for that to happen. And the whole market's not going to be sitting here doing nothing. There are going to be coins, like it looks like Ren is making a push right now. There's going to be a lot of trade opportunities between now and January. Some of them even to the long side, and that's even if Bitcoin rolls over and visits its reload zone. So I don't want to say, okay, well, I really like RSR, which I do. I think it's a really cool project. I think it's going to do really well. I don't want to just, because of that, buy it the second it arrives down here. And then I'm now held hostage to that position with some amount of capital. I mean, maybe a nibble. I'm going to have a little nibble, DCA. But I'm going to wait till this thing reverses its trend. I mean, the EMAs, these are fairly fast moving EMAs, and they only just crossed bearish on the 3-day. So we'll let this one cool personally, myself, but I think I may go just buy back that little bit that I sold at the top just to say I did. It's only a couple $100 worth, like whatever. And I think, yeah, I think this one could easily visit the 886, test this old level here. That wouldn't be all that bearish because that'd still be higher than it was, just a couple months ago. And then we'll continue onwards from there. Looking over at the chat, I just want to give a big shout out to Cred09 for doing something that more people need to learn how to do, myself included, which is ask questions regardless of how new or newbie they sound, because you're not going to learn shit otherwise. And he was curious, he or she was curious, said, do you have to own Bitcoin in order to trade a Bitcoin pair? Yes, because and that to somebody that would say, of course you do. What kind of question is that? But like, I still remember when I was very, very new to this, the concept of buying anything in crypto. You're not just buying everything with US dollars or whatever fiat currency you have. You're trading them. So yes, to trade Bitcoin pairs, you need to start with Bitcoin. That's the major pair. You're trading it for the minor pair, which is whatever altcoin you're trading it for. So great question. And guys, keep those coming, because I guarantee you, when you ask those kinds of questions, somebody else who's watching is like, oh, thank God. I didn't want to ask that. Now I know. Yeah, Scepter. Oh, Scepter's in the house. Good to see you, bro. Yeah, it says many people actually don't know that. And so, appreciate you for asking those questions. My little cousin actually was watching the other day. He's like, I wanted to talk to you guys and ask some stuff, but didn't want to sound dumb. And I was like, dude, just don't.
It's okay.
Don't with that attitude. Yeah, not around here, man. Ask those questions, because it's the only way you're gonna grow. What coins are you watching specifically, Nick? Do you have a short list right now that we can sort of pick away at? I've got a couple, but
there's a few I'm watching. I'm a big fan of Polkadot's. Full disclosure, I invested in this project. Polka Starter, the first DEX on the Polka chain, or they will be once they migrate over.
polls.
This thing, 1.5 cents on the seed round, 2.5 cents, and it rallied up to almost $1 on its listing day. I think the chart looks actually, pretty good. You kind of got that, V shape, and then that U, and then remember we were talking about this just yesterday, the Adam and Eve into a cup and handle. So that's actually kind of what I'm looking for right here. Again, I'm not sure what to look. Actually, I think this pair is pretty liquid. I think they reached like $24 million on the first day. So again, this is an awesome pattern to see. It's that V followed by the U, right? So that's your Adam and Eve bottom. It's a reversal pattern. And then you also got the handle here. I know it's drawn really shittily, but so you got the Adam and Eve, you got the cup and handle, a break above 70 cents. And I think we're going to go retest, this 90 cents level. So watching that. Also saw a request for meme. This is a very easy chart to be looking at right now. It is in fact bearish. What a surprise. So what do we need to see for this to get back to not be bearish? Well, look at this nice clear throwback level, right? This level right here around like 440, 460. You can see we've come up, retested a little bit, and sure enough, it's flipping to resistance there. pretty low volume. This is again Uniswap pairs that I'm looking at, so volume is going to be a little bit less. But yeah, unless it's above like 460, 470, I'm bearish on this. If we do reclaim this level, I'd be expecting new lows off of this. If we fail here at that 440 level, if we do in fact, say we support down here, I'm a fool. It bounces, fantastic. If this turns to support, I'd be a bull. Targeting again the $600 level here. 640. But again, I need to see this support level here that we broke down from turn back to support. So until that happens, we're playing the team bear here right now. And I know somebody wanted me to take a quick look here at Tesla. Not a lot going on here. This is just a weekly support level, so it's kind of just ranging here between 460 and 330. Sorry. Is there any divs or anything? Yeah, even the momentum, not really seeing any divergences. Maybe you can see something on the MACDs, but nothing there. So as long as we're above this weekly support at 320, it's bullish. If it breaks down, you're going to be looking at like 270. Again, this is all untested levels, right? So you'd be looking at 270, and if for some reason that died, Elon Musk struck by a bus or something, probably going to go back and retest these lower levels. But for now, bullish above the weekly level, all good. And then I don't think we looked at the Uniswap PERP chart. Again, there's no real reason to be bullish on this stuff. Just constantly flipping these intraday support levels to resistance. So even right here, right now, I'd need to see this back above 19.1, 19.2 to even think that we were starting to put a bottom in. Otherwise, lower highs, lower lows, no reason to be a bull. Finally, XTZ, I'm always keeping an eye on this chart, guys. And look at how clean this is. Wow, beautiful. So we've touched this weekly support level. We had it marked there for a while. I think a lot of people were trying to get long up here. They're broke. So, some people probably tried to long up here. They're broke again. Bearish throwback at 2.3. I'm bearish below that. If we get above here, flip this to support, I'll flip bull. It'll be great. Until then, we're pinned between this weekly support, this bearish throwback. If this weekly support goes, I'm going to be looking for like 1.4, possibly lower into these lows, dollar. But I think we're going to hold this weekly support level for now. We've already had that double tap on it. If it puts in a higher low or something, and thinking the bulls were coming back in. This is an 8-hour chart. It's kind of a weird one. But again, if we see another, we see another tap off this weekly support, a little higher below, flip that or something like that, I think we could go then sweep these highs into this volume node here. It goes back. There's a lot of price history at this 2.8 level. So that's what I'd be looking for here. And if we do fail at this weekly support, say we come down here, peter back up, down you go. So that's what we're looking for, kind of this indecision range right now. I wouldn't be trading off of this unless you did take a short off this bearish throwback, which of course, in that case, your stop is going to be above, these highs. So that's what I'm looking for there. And that's what I'm looking for into the weekend.
What a disappointment XTC has been. I know that you were really bullish on that one, and we caught it in the summer breaking out to new highs. And I thought, oh, price discovery, Link's going insane.
Yeah.
And XTC just friggin' rolled over despite their high numbers of stakers and the
I think
what's going on with them?
82% or between 82 and 85% of the supply is getting staked right now. It's just
so that's crazy. I mean, what is it? 18% of what's available is now sending it to the lows. I wonder what the volume's like. I wonder if you could see like relative volume is actually lacking, and maybe we're coming into a
you could just look at
reversal.
Yeah, look at this. Oh, sorry, this is Solana. The volume is relatively just decreasing. I think the DeFi stuff really took the wind out of this one.
Yeah, as far as like hype train and excitement. Exactly. I mean, but look at that from that perspective, it is actually coming into a level. So
yeah, it is. Like this is a huge weekly support level for sure, especially when you look at it this high time frame thing, right? Like if this goes, this is going to be a huge violation of market structure. This would confirm a bear market, in my opinion.
That's a sad, yeah. And that's what's got me nervous. I don't care if we pull into RLZs. I don't care if all these altcoins go back down to their lows. Like that to me is washing machine cycle. It's 2020, right? We're not quite there yet. But if we break lows, if we break major structures, like I'm going to be sad. I'm going to be really disappointed because that doesn't mean we're never going up, but it probably means we have a lot longer to wait. And I was really hoping next year was the year. And I think it is still, but
I think I'm also watching a little bit here on Ample. It's up significantly today. And what a clean chart it is. Like the support level down here at 055 up to 06 has been impenetrable to,
juicy.
to date so far. So I don't know what's going on with the rebases. I guess you're going to be getting a positive rebase. It's over $1 now. But yeah, resistance, I'm looking for that $3 from here. I can't recommend getting long. Like you just missed what? A 42% move. Don't get long here. In terms of upside still, there's probably still some upside, right? But again, you've missed the fantastic entry. Now you have all this downside risk below this breakout candle. So I would wait to see what happens here at resistance. If we do see it come back off a little, if it did come back, support off that $1 again, I think it'd look pretty good.
Beautiful. Well, Jim Reardon, one of our regulars here, big fan of his. I am, and he's in here asking about Switcheo. He has dropped a hot mention, and it is actually sitting at a pretty sick level. Now, I am on that exchange. I do see what appears to be a trading view. Yeah, chart by trading view. Oh, look at this. Okay, wait. Can I get that full screen? No. So sometimes with these widgets, unfortunately, you don't get your tools on the full screen. So let's just take a look at this. It is an exchange. It looks like it's Neo-based. And I got to hand it to you, Jim. It is definitely the kind of thing I like to look at in the sense of just location. It's right down at that 786, as is, to be fair, most of the alt market. But, I always get a little uncomfortable when, like, a lot of times you get these requests and it's like, hey, can you take a look at my coin? It's going to the moon and it's up here. And I'm just like, ooh, pay yourself, just be careful and blah, blah, blah. But this one is sitting at a pretty sick level right now. Let's just zoom into it. I'm going to put a horizontal line right there. Put a little green on that. Oh, nice. Okay. Actually, yeah, the producer just informed me that he has zoomed us in a bit. That'll help. And actually, oh God, why is that line? Where's my horizontal? Oh, you know what? Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. It just goes backwards as well. So let's get the proper big zoom. Is that going to mess it up? Yeah, zoom out there for a sec, John. All right. So, I mean, yeah, again, so are there evidence? I mean, look at the volume going up. Tons of buyers coming in. In fact, your signal, right? You could see volume rising here. That was a pretty sweet signal if you're just, back in the day. And this is stuff we were spotting in the spring, right? Like there was evidence that this kind of thing may be coming. I think even I was surprised with how intense this summer was, given my bear PTSD from the last couple of years. But you could see the signs in the volume. It peaked. It rolled over a bit, even through the highs. So further adding to that idea of like, let's be careful up at these highs. When we just made this at what at the time was an all-time high, look at that volume. Like there was just nothing there. So what a cool little signal if you can learn how to read that. And it doesn't mean it guarantees anything, right? There could be new news the next day and a huge buy volume comes in. But we always just trade on probabilities and take those risks based on that. So this was a pretty high probability time to pay yourself. And right now, what we want to see is the sell volume drying up. Right now, there is still some sellers in the market, no buys. So you can literally just measure it, guys, on verticals. So in this case, I got to zoom in because it's all relative. See how this sell volume is higher than this? The bears are still in control. That's what that is. When we see a buy bar come in and take over in height, in an amount, we could say, oh, look at that. The bulls are back in control. They are ready to move up, move in. So watch for that, Jim, if you're looking at this saying, oh, I want to get some of this. No need to front run it, right? Let the big money tell you that they're going to support your level and then get in, then hunt that retrace, then hunt for the long side. Because if you catch it at the right time, it doesn't really matter exactly where it is as long as it's heading in your direction, presumably for months or a year or 2 years. Could you imagine? Ooh, what a bull market it might be someday. Let's hope. So that's my take on Switcheo real quick. And if you don't have anything offhand, I have a thought. Total market cap.
Sure. Yeah, something we didn't look at.
Okay, because I kind of want to draw a GAN.
Oh,
And these look really complicated. They're really not too hard. They take a little time to learn. I think this thing is okay. I've never actually tried to do a GAN on a total market cap, so I am fully freelancing here, guys. But basically, you want to square your chart. So you kind of want to find a round number to lock price bar ratio, because this stuff was based on graph paper back when N was around. So let's just put it at a nice even 5. See how that will age. Oh God. Oh dear Jesus. Okay, so probably pick the worst asset in the world to learn this on. Let's just reset it. Basically, a GAN square. Oh, would have been fun. Okay, I might have to come back to that one. This one's a little too tricky for a GAN square. Let's just do the old corn. So I think really from here, we're going to do a price to bar ratio of 100. Hopefully that'll work. Yeah. See, so you see guys, now when I stretch the chart, the relativity of the chart doesn't change. It doesn't stretch side to side. That's what you have to do to draw one of these. Okay. And then you just go GAN square fixed, get that magnet tool on, drag it. And you want to go up to the first big pivot, which in this case was way up here. And now I'm going to take the other square. What happened? Oh, I zoomed. I'm going to take this little square here and I'm going to match it. And I want it to be perfect. Then I'm going to lock that one. I'm going to take the bar ratio lock off. And then I'm going to just get rid of this. All right. So now I've got this GAN drawn up. And so this obviously tagged perfectly because that's where I dragged it to. But now we can see price playing off of these levels. This is a very high time frame look at Bitcoin. And you can see these different arcs mean different things. The big ones for me, the most important ones for a trader, I think, are the 8-to-1s, these purple ones on the edges. If you get up there, they can give you a really powerful level. And in this case, obviously, it tagged. And then these arcs right here, you're going to see price ride down and up these arcs all the time with GAN. So actually, I'm not surprised. You know, this is our path through exactly what we've been talking about all day. I'm going to save this chart. I was hoping to do this to the total market cap because I thought that'd be kind of a cool study. I haven't actually done one. I will try to do one of those offline because it may take some time with the price to bar lock. And we're going to save this though, because again, I'm not cheering for this to happen, but I mean, we already bounced right off the arc, and I imagine that this is actually going to paint us a pretty sweet picture. Let's just pray we don't end up at the 8-to-1. It's going to probably sting. But the nice thing about GAN is, you notice it gives you verticals as well. So it doesn't just give you price levels like trend lines and fibs and support resistance. This actually gives us time, the axis of time. And so if we were going to get to some of these levels, I mean, this arc ends right around the new year, right here. So some amount of riding down this arc seems likely. And that's just vibrational signatures of the universe. Fascinating shit. And we'll see where we go from there. I think it makes a lot of sense to at least bounce here, which is, oh my God, that's 8,100.
Perfect.
I just got excited because look at this. This is the, where is it? Oh crap, I'm on the spot. I get freaking out here. I have a GAN that shows that 8,100 here on election day, the GAN 50/50. So that's kind of cool. A little bit of confluence there. 2 different GANs, 2 different time dates, both pointing. Now this is November 9th, November 2nd. Oh my God. Same level, 2 different GANs, 2 different time frames, same spot. Confluence doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's certainly 1 inch more likely now in my mind. Crazy. We'll see if that actually happens. I'm gonna timestamp this. We'll come back to this in November. Looks so violent on that chart.
Yeah.
check in with the chat real quick, and then we should wrap. It is Friday, and we do have our weekly wrap meeting very soon, so we should probably get to that. Oh, okay. Let's go back to cameras. We're going to talk about our new idea. That's a green screen. Okay. For any of you guys who play video games, hit us up in the chat right now. Really curious to hear your feedback. Do you think there is some value? Would you watch a live stream of us live trading? And so I'm really thinking like a fairly robust live trading stream where it's like sitting down, get the trade journal up, get every little bit of it up. It looks really dark. Is that me? No, that's just me. Get all that stuff up, entering some setups, doing some paper trading, quote unquote. I mean, I may trade them on the backside or front side or not, but the idea would be like a modeling of essentially a trading setup, and maybe track the account as well. Let's see if we can turn this 10K paper trade account into 100K. But being in a trade is kind of like watching paint dry. So we were thinking, flip over to some gaming, get some Call of Duty going, get some like whatever's hot, Fall Guys, some of these games. And what I really love about that idea is that we can then open it up to some people jumping in with us. Like, yo, you guys play on PS4, you guys play on PC, hop in the party, roll with Team Hxro Labs, and we'll get out there and just shoot some bad guys. So I think that would be a heck of a lot of fun. We tested it out last night on our Twitch, and it worked. Turns out my computer can handle it really well. So hell yeah, I'm seeing some positivity here. We've got a few guys saying we're into it. Yeah, live trading war room. Hell yes. That's what I'm talking about, Jim. So keep your eyes out on that. We've got a few things to cook up still for that and, get our layouts worked out. But in the next week or two, I think personally, I think it would make me a better trader too. I'm just sitting there like, you tend to behave best when you're teaching. That's true for when I was an actual teacher. Like I never swore because I was around all the students, all those kinds of things. So I'm excited for it as well. And I hope you guys are. And I don't game anymore because I do too much of this working and all this other stuff. So this is like this will be a fun way to marry two fun things. What about you, Nick? Are you going to jump on and play some?
Yeah, if you guys need some carrying, for sure.
Oh, always need some carrying. Nicely said. And I'm not even a great gamer. I'm okay. I'd say I'm a hot 6 out of 10 when it comes to Call of Duty. Some of these sweats out here, but keep an eye out for that, guys. Really happy to hear that you're into it as much as I am. We will be pumping that out on Twitch, Periscope, whatever, in the near future. So really appreciate that. And with that, I think we're ready to wrap. I'm looking at you, Nick. Oh, you're over there. I'm looking at you, Nick.
Yeah, I think we're good to go.
We're good to go. And, trend is down. So let's just cool our jets and be ready for anything through the weekend. I typically don't trade on the weekends. But let's see how the CME opens up on Sunday night. And I believe Messi will be live then too. So look forward to that. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for coming by today. Hit that like and hit the sub if you like what we're doing over here. We're going to keep this stuff free, open, and awesome for you. So hit us up with those. And that is all you owe us as far as payment. And we really appreciate that stuff. So until next time, guys, have a wonderful weekend and always play from a position of strength.